Hi, I'm Karen Barks. Stay tuned. Taped with Rabbi Doug is on next.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight.
But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug.
Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. Glad you could be with us today. We're here at the Ezra Habonim Niles Township Jewish Congregation building, and I am here with Dr. Fred Huss, Ken Dermer, Megan Goldish, and we are here wishing you Happy Purim, Chag Sameach. It is Purim time 5783, and as happens here for over 10 years now, the famous, world famous Purim Shpiel that takes place in this building, which has been written and directed by Ken Dermer himself for all these years, is taking place this year, 5783, the Lyin Queen, and that's Lyin Queen, is the musical Purim Parody that they are performing. And I'm so glad to be with all of you. And Ken, I want to start with you, since you are, the man who puts it all together. You must spend all year long, Purim's over, time to write a new play, putting plays together. What number play is the Lyin Queen?
Well, this is actually our 14th.
14th.
We started in 2010. Friends at JRC used to do a very nice show, and they quit doing that, so we picked up the slack and took it up one more notch.
Very, very nice. So tell me what the title of your very first one was 14 years ago.
Well, the first one was called The Megillah, a Thrilla, and it was really not as professional, and we learned from year after year and made it better and better and better.
Now tell me the name of your musical director.
Well, my musical director is Howard Pfeiffer, who has years and years of experience.
I want to tell people, Howard Pfeiffer is famous. He is well known. He's done Broadway plays, off-Broadway plays, you could say, in the Chicago area. We have Broadway in Chicago. He is famous for things that you've seen, actually. And Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, if you Google him, you'll find out that he was with the Chipmunks when he lived in California. He trained some very famous people, worked with people like Marie Osmond on their singing, and even was in Chicago working on Hamilton. So he is very, very good at this.
And that just goes to tell you how professional these plays are, and this play is, besides the fact that it used to start out with just members of the congregation with JRC and at Niles Township when it first moved here, and has grown into finding semi-professionals and professionals throughout the community to come and be part of this play, which makes it such a special thing. Now, last year's play was what?
It was Shushan Incorporated.
Shushan Incorporated, and it's amazing how many people I found out that I know that have been in these plays and still know who are involved in these plays that I didn't even know these people acted or sang or danced or did all the things that they do in here. Fred, I want to come to you. Dr. Fred Huss, my foot doctor and my friend, and
Karen Barks' husband.
And Karen Barks' husband, the famous comedian. That's right. Fred, how did you get involved in this at first? And what keeps you coming every year? You are the longest actor in the history of Ken's plays and these Purim Shpiels. How did you get involved, and what keeps you going every year?
Am I the longest actor, or is it Shelley is the longest actor?
Well, actually, Miriam Davidson was in our first, though she missed a few years. Shelley has been in a number, so he might be the longest consecutive. So,
yes.
Yeah, consecutive. I think this year, 10th year in a row?
My 10th year in a row.
10th year in a row,
yes.
Amazing.
Yes,
So
I'm the veteran.
how'd you get
senior
involved?
veteran.
How'd you get involved?
So Ken and I did a show years ago at for Solomon Schechter's school. It was a parent night, parody night for a fundraiser, and we had fun doing it. He was the directing and the writing of all those parodies as well. And he kept badgering me for years and years to come do this show. So finally, I gave in, I caved in, and I did the first show in 2013.
2013, very nice. So tell me, Megan, what is your connection to being here? How did you get involved, and why do you stay around?
I did a lot of theater, and I used to come and watch the shows here. I worked for Shelley. I still kind of work for Shelley. So, and I just thought these shows were a blast. At the same time that the show was going, I used to be in a different show, and it just stopped running, and I was very excited. This is my fourth one, and it's a blast. I agree with you. It's like really, Ken has done a tremendous job of the level of professionalism, and it's also fun to be a part of. So
very, very nice. Ken, what made you, start to write Purim plays and Purim spiels? What was your first, spark that got you going on this? And did you write other type of plays and acting situations before this?
So growing up, I wrote parodies. For my bar mitzvah, I wrote a parody because my mother was hawking me about writing my thank you notes.
Where was your bar mitzvah at?
At Lincolnwood Jewish Congregation.
With Rabbi Lairfield.
With Rabbi Lairfield in 1970. And my mother was hawking me about writing the thank you cards, so I wrote a parody for her. We wrote a parody about Mom and her refrigerator, and that we probably had a brother living in the back of the freezer because she froze everything. And so I've always written that type of thing. When I graduated, I always wrote parodies in college, and whenever I had a chance, I wrote poems, I wrote songs, and actually in 1981, a couple years after graduating college, I did some stand-up comedy, and always just keep writing, and whenever there was an opportunity, I'd write a parody, a song, a play, trying to get people to laugh, and often I did it.
Very nice, very nice. So tell me, in your 14 Purim spiels that you've written, what would you say in your mind was the most brilliant or the funniest or the one that still is on your mind that you say, I hope I can write something as good as that?
Well, it's funny because every year it gets better and better. And we say that, and Howard, who's a professional, he says, is this one better, or are we just because we're in it? The Lyin Queen is what we're doing this year, and so based on the fact that Esther might not have been a 14-year-old maiden, we started talking, and all of a sudden it became that we were doing this with animals in the African savannah. And then last year we took it into a business situation and talked about anti-Semitism at workplace, and told the story in a company, a current company. When COVID hit, we had to film people one at a time. We didn't have a big production. We just individually filmed people. So it was called McGilligan's Islands, and everybody, all the characters landed on a separate island, so we were all safely distanced and only one person was filmed at a time. We've done a Western High Noon. We've done a horror, or a horror, depending on where you come from, called Young Estherstein. We've done Bye Bye Haman, Purim Time, Little Orphan Esther. So we've kept growing. We did the Book of Esther when Book of Mormon was popular.
Saving Mordecai.
Saving Mordecai was our Disney version. Oh, Sydney, we don't talk about Disney. And so we've done a lot of different varieties, and each time there's something that I take away that makes me smile. The thing that makes me smile the most is when the audience claps or laughs or responds to the actors who are on the stage.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Fred, in your 10 years, now, I never knew you composing music. You've composed music to Matovu, and you've composed things and stuff. Did this start before you were acting and singing and doing all this, or were you into acting and singing before you ever did this?
Into the acting and singing before I started to do any liturgical composition.
You were.
So yes, but I was kind of inspired by this synagogue and the people in it, and I started during COVID. I thought, let me start playing around with some liturgical pieces and see what I can come up with. So my musical background is not as broad as some of the people here, but I just have enough of a musical brain to figure out how to make a song work.
Very nice, very nice. So Megan, you talked about before we started the show that there aren't a lot of Jewish people that live in your part of Chicago, in your neighborhood, right there, you know, your neighbors. You don't have a lot of Jewish neighbors and stuff like that. Where were you, bat mitzvah? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Skokie, right by Jack's restaurant, Olav Shalom.
Near Skokie Yeshiva, Hillel Torah Day School,
Right,
and Kol Emet.
Kol Emet, that was my congregation. I think I was the star of the Hebrew school class. If you talk to the rabbi and he says something different, he's just joking because I'm clearly the best student ever. So I was bat mitzvah there. I had it at Arnie's North. The theme was detention. I don't know, so. But yeah, so, and then.
Are you telling us secrets about yourself?
No, that was like the theme, and like your card was like, you're in trouble for, you know, chewing gum in class. That's how you knew which table you were at. So it was very me, detention, but yes.
Very cute, very cute. And how'd you get into acting first?
I did, I am a graduate of the Second City Conservatory.
Oh, very
and the
nice.
Music Conservatory, and I was with a group of people who at the Annoyance Theater, and we all started, we used to perform together. I did a lot of theater when I was at summer camp, but I've been doing it ever since.
Did you do a summer camp theater?
I did.
Or you did at summer camp?
At summer camp, there were a lot of theatrical people. We're very theatrical people, as you know, but it wasn't a theater camp, but had a very strong theater program.
Well, I've got a question because, you know, obviously theater and comedy is your avocation. What is your vocation? What do you do?
Oh, I'm a judge in the domestic violence division. You know, which is hilarious, right? But
it goes with detention.
right?
It goes perfectly.
Detention, yes. So I feel like I understand maybe more. So yeah, I was a state's attorney for a number of years, and then I've been in the domestic violence division for about 8 years now.
All right, we have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people in your division and in your former division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, in the Jewish community.
Oh, great, great.
Very, very nice. Fred?
Yeah.
Being a doctor, being someone who has a lot of clients and a lot of people you go and treat, where did you grow up and have your bar mitzvah? Because I know you grew up in Skokie too, didn't you?
I grew up in Skokie. I started out in Albany Park, and before that, the West Side. We actually came here from, I came here as a displaced person when I was almost a year old, 9 days before my first birthday, and then moved to the West Side by Madison and Cicero. Then we eventually moved to Albany Park, and Rabbi Kleineman was my rabbi then at the B'nai Shalom, I think.
Very well.
And then we moved to Skokie in 1960, and we went to Skokie Valley. And
Rabbi Cantor.
Rabbi Cantor, and I was bar mitzvahed with Rabbi Cantor.
Very good. And you should know that his mother is famous, Allah Shalom, as being one of the most famous teachers of young children at Hillel Torah North Suburban Day School. So if you went to North Suburban Day School, Hillel Torah, you know
That's my mom.
that's his mom, Mrs. Huss. Everybody knew her, and everybody
knew her.
loved her.
They
Everybody
did.
loved her.
They
Both
did.
her
Looked up
parents.
to her.
And
Everybody
looked up to
did.
her.
Hello,
Or
Tora,
down to her.
behind
Or looked
Jack.
down to her, right? She was a short little lady, but she was a doll. She was a doll.
She was much.
That's Hillel Torah behind Jack's restaurant.
That's right
Yes.
where you lived. That's
So
what
I
made me
went to,
think of it.
I went to Fairview, the orange store.
Right next door.
Yeah,
Right next door.
Right
Very
next
nice.
door.
Very nice. Ken.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the Lyin Queen. We hope that people will make an opportunity who might see this before the show comes on to come out and see this tremendous play. Tell us about the storyline a little bit, and what will people find attractive about this play especially? And tell us, you said a little bit about animals, and obviously there's a Lyin King connection to the Lyin Queen. There's an Esther connection to the Queen. How did you put it together? What's it all about?
Well, I told you that I started doing these in 2010 because I did see another congregation who used to do them. And between the story they told and the story of Purim, I kind of lost both stories. So one of the things that I've always said is that we would teach the story of Purim pretty closely each time we told the story. My rabbi has challenged me different times asking me questions, and this time he said to me, well, because in my original research, I found out that Ahasuerus was probably 62 years old, and Esther was maybe 14 years old, which is, okay in ancient times, but not okay in, I think it's a felony, is that correct?
It's a felony.
Okay. So I had to change this to be more politically correct. We kept aging her up, 18, 20, 22. So she was young and he was old, but not a felony. So last year, the rabbi said to me, some midrashim say that Esther was maybe 40 years old or 75 years old. And I said, Rabbi, if she was the most beautiful woman in all of Shushan, how did she stay pure to 40? And he said, well, in ancient days, Methuselah lived to 969 years old. So to some, 75 was a toddler. And so I said, okay, let's explore this next year. So we did, and we started talking about if she was older. And then I said, well, as long as I'm messing up the story from the way we've told in the past, why don't I make the king younger? So since she was older and he was younger, that made her
A cougar.
right. So once Esther became a cougar, with the Lyin Queen was written. Esther also hides the fact of her Jewishness. In our story, she also hides the fact of her age. And now we moved into the jungle, and everybody became an animal, and the rest of it wrote itself.
Wow, wow, wow. Tell me about the music in the show, because you do have singing and choreography and things like that. Who does the choreography for the show? And do you write the words to the music also, or do you do that collaboratively? How does that work?
So Rena Rosen is our excellent choreographer.
Rena Rosen.
Yes, who's been with us for probably more than 10 years.
Very nice.
So she is a teacher at Solomon Schechter and teaches dance to little kids and teaches dance to the big kids too, like us. And so, yes, I choose the songs. I try and take it with a theme. So most of the songs had some cat theme, came from Lyin King, came from Cats, came from the Stray Cats, things that I thought of that would relate to the story, and then just picking, and yes, I write most of the words, and then Howard says, no, you can't do that. It doesn't line up correctly, so he makes me rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it, and then we work together, and then we sing it, and then we do a lot of changing too. It is a very fluid process, because this show has never been done before. These words have never been sung before, so we don't know how it's going to come out, and until you perform it on stage, you don't know what the people are going to think, and so it takes a lot of rehearsal. We rehearse for 6 weeks, 3 times a week, and twice on Sundays.
Wow, 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 wow. So tell me something. So most of the music, obviously, in a parody play, a lot of the music is parody music, using music that was written for other things and putting your words to it. Have you and Howard put together any original scores over the years for some of these plays?
Not yet. I've also written a movie based on the play where a man from Skokie becomes successful, moves out West Coast.
It couldn't be a girl from Skokie, because
No.
Karen is available.
Right. Moves out west to California, and his rabbi calls him back to star in the Purim Shpiel and save the synagogue. So there is an original song that has yet to be written, but basically it's all parodies of songs that are popular, mostly 60s and 70s, with a lot of theater thrown in. If you're looking for something from the year 2000, I don't know that music.
Very good.
And if I could say one thing.
Yes, please.
Ken's writing is brilliant and moving and funny. I mean, it's really an honor to be working with a guy who knows how to put together words, lyrics to songs from whatever period they are, but you just do an amazing job of making it all work and making it all fun.
Thank you.
You're very clever. Like, even as I was reading through it before I heard a read-through, I was laughing. I was LOLing for the old
Yeah.
folks. Okay, but I was laughing as I'm reading it, and then when I heard it being spoken, like during a read-through, I was like, "Gosh, she's so clever." So, I mean, really, I don't know how he gets it. But
Wonderful.
What I like is the cantor comes to me every year, and each time at a new...
David Gale?
Daniel
Daniel Gale?
Yes.
Daniel Gale, the Chazan.
Yes, the Chazan here, who has a wonderful voice and has a part in the show as Vinny the Mouse. he comes to me and he says, you know, I didn't hear that joke last time, or I didn't hear that's a good line. And so you hear more and more each time you hear the show.
Dan is a talented guy. The reason I said David, there's a funeral director in Chicago I've dealt with over the years, a cemetery director named David Gale. So it was in my mind. But Daniel is a great guy. Daniel's been on our show also, and wonderful. By the way, we are here at the Ezra Habonim Niles Township Jewish Congregation. We are here talking about the Lyin Queen, the musical Purim Parody, the Purim Shpiel that's being put together for 5783, and we wish you all Chag Sameach, Happy Purim. I'm here with Dr. Fred Huss, with Ken Dermer, with Judge Megan Goldish, and we are going to be right back.
Stay tuned. Taped with Rabbi Doug will be right back.
Maria?
Yeah?
Some things on TV scare Elmo.
If some things on TV make you or you feel sad or scared, tell a grown-up that's close to you.
Like you, Maria.
Yes, like me.
What song will you dance to first? Habonim. It means let us rejoice. Habonim. That's our first dance choice. Do a hurrah and sing along in full voice. It's simplistically choreography. Habonim. Now when she was a freshman in school, when I was a freshman at school, Tovma Alud, Toda Rabba. At the dance with the boys, she'd miss every beat. With the rumble or foxtrot, she'd step on their feet. With an expletive yell, they'd leave me alone. Never gave me a chance for my sins to atone. And that really hurt. Think of their feet. They never stayed for dessert. How could they eat? Drove them nuts. Let's not lay blame that I was a klutz. Whew, I thought you were going someplace else with that rhyme. The rabbi would never have allowed it. It means let us rejoice. That's our first dance choice. We dance in circles and sing along in full voice. It's simplistically choreography.
Welcome back. We're here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. We're here talking about the Lyin Queen, the Purim Shpiel, the musical Purim Parody, and this is Dr. Fred Huss. This is Ken Dermer. This is Megan Goldish, and I wanted to know, really, does the change in the cast that takes place, although a lot of it are the same people that continue on and does that bring new people into the audience? You know, a lot of times when, for example, when a band will go out and play in a club and it's their first time in the club, 80% of the people that come there are their friends who come to see them, who want to see them. Has your cast brought in new people to come and see the play that haven't seen it before? And do the people from the past years return? That's kind of a question I wanted to know. Or is it like, you know, we're going to go on a date and we're going to go see this play, but we're not going to go see the next one and the next one necessarily? Is this kind of a returning audience?
It is. It's addicting. Once you've seen one, you've got to see another and another and another. Everybody comes up to me afterwards and go, "What are you doing next year?" And we're not even finished with the run of this year. So it's always, the audience keeps growing and growing, because once you've seen one, you've got to find out where we're going to next year.
Very nice, very nice. What is, when you put these plays together, what is the biggest problem or the biggest concern you have when you're practicing with the people you have? Is it people's voices? Is it choosing the people who are going to sing solos? Is it somebody is a really good actor and you have to really mold them into the what comes up that makes things really tough for you when you're getting down to the wire with the rehearsals?
Well, as we've grown, we've gotten more and more professional people, and so, but we don't pay our professional people, so we have a challenge of finding the people of the quality that we want without giving them money. So the first problem,
because there is no money,
right?
And it's a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser, and that's it. You know,
tzedakah.
Right. I tell everybody that, you know, we have three things that we're going to do. First, we're going to put on a great show. Two, we're going to have fun doing it, and three, we're going to raise money for the synagogue. And that is always, you know, our third goal, because if we do the first two, the third one will happen.
How many people are in your cast this year, and how many people are behind the scenes that aren't actually acting?
Well, there are 22 people in the cast this year.
22 people.
Right? And there are 4 additional cast and crew, actually 6 when we do the performances. So we have a lighting and sound and a designer, as well as the best costume designer that you will ever see. Francine Schulman has done over 100 shows in all 14 of our shows, and this year is her biggest and her best of what she's done to make the cast, turn them into the animals that they are.
Who designed your t-shirts? I'm curious.
My screen printer and I designed the logo. We referenced the Lyin King logo.
This was just great. I can't thank you enough. I hope you will come out to see this very, very wonderful play, this Purim Shpiel, The Lyin Queen, a musical Purim parody at the Niles Township Jewish congregation, Ezra Habonim, the Niles Township Jewish congregation, on Dempster and Skokie, and it'll be March 4th, March 5th, March 11th, March 12th, and if you see this show after that, make sure you come next year to see the play that's going to be on next year, because it's even going to be better, because it gets better every year.
Well, you can actually purchase a link to watch the show after the event.
Which will be another fundraiser.
Which is another fundraiser.
All right,
so
very
if you
nice.
call the shul here, you can arrange that.
Very good. I want to thank all of you for being with us once again. I want to thank Dr. Huss. I want to thank Ken Dermer. I want to thank Megan, and I want to thank all of you. Remember, you can check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, where you can also see former shows on the web. And if you want to contact Ken Dermer or Fred,
Heyman.
or who is Heyman, or Megan,
Who's
you
Esther?
can drop
Esther.
You could drop us an email at info@tvrabbi.com. I will forward it to them, and I know they'll get back to you personally. And if you want to know more about these shows in the future, you can also email us, and we'll forward it to them, and they'll let you know. And we want to wish everyone Chag Purim Sameach, Happy Purim, Freilichen Purim, and hope to see you next time right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
Lots of home and tasha.
The queens are right, 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 the queens are right. In this story, this Purim story, the Lyin Queen's alright. In this story, the whole Megillah, the Lyin Queen's alright. The queens are right, 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 the queens are right.
This has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.